tax increase on the
No.
in exchange.
No.
Did you listen? Were you here earlier? No, I'm not being a jerk. But have you read the CBO numbers or anything?
Yes.
Okay, so on a 50-year average, we normally bring in 17% of GDP. We're bringing in 20%. You know how many times in history we've done that? Twice. 1944 and 2000. So if we're bringing in normally 17, we're bringing in 20, that means we're bringing in more money than any time in American history. But what we're spending, for the last 21 years, we spent more money than we brought in. But instead of only spending 21% of GDP like we normally did for the last 50 years, when the Democrats came in, they spent $6 trillion. Now, I don't know if you're an economic major or whatever, but if you study Morton Friedman, he would tell you the only place that inflation is created is government. So that $6 trillion brought us inflation. So what did that do? Your money goes less. You have less money to spend. It doesn't go as far. We've had, of our 4 biggest bank failures in America, we had 3 of them in the last couple of months. Why? Because interest rates went up. Because the only way you curve inflation is you make interest rates higher than the inflation rate. So what does that do? That harms people from buying houses. That means you're paying more on your credit card. But that means every taxpayer is paying more because of our debt. So we're going to pay more on interest. But he went all the way up to 23%. So we're spending more than we spent in 50 years, but we're bringing in more than we've been in 50 years. So I go back to your question. Having that knowledge now, would you raise that question again?
Yeah, but would that be a way to
No.
some of the provisions?
No, it's very clear. You know what I told the president 105 days ago when I sat in the Oval Office? I have no preconceived notion of what we have to do in the debt ceiling except 2 things. We're not going to raise taxes, and we're not going to pass a clean debt ceiling. But we have to spend less than we spent the last year. So let's sit down and talk about that. But he decided, no, I shouldn't negotiate with somebody. I'm just going to do what I want to do, my way or the highway. That's not the way our government is designed to work. It's not the way business works. It's not the way your household works. And it's not going to work here either. Yes, ma'am.
Speaker, at the beginning of the week, the White House came out sounding positive about progress being made. You ended up responding that you felt like you were very far apart. I'm curious if you can put now in terms of numbers, 10 having a deal, 1 talks falling apart. On that scale, how close are you to having?
Look, I don't know on a scale. I'm not going to scale you. But I'll tell you this. Earlier in the week, all the way through this, I just want to be honest with the American public. I went to Wall Street more than a month ago to warn them we're not meeting. It's a problem. I went to you day in and day out, and you made fun of me. You're saying, oh, you just want to have a meeting. No, I didn't want to be here at this moment, at this time. Then we passed our own bill. We never would have had a meeting had we not raised the debt ceiling ourselves. We put an idea of how to do it. The only thing I'm more optimistic about, he finally agreed to something that every other time we've been able to solve a problem has worked. The structure of negotiations. But now we're along such a short timeline, it makes it almost harder. But if there's one thing you know from me, I never give up. I have the grit, the perseverance, and we're going to get it done. Thank you all very much.